Bonjour! My name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the Eau de Vie edition. This is episode 7 of How to Pick a Wine. Today we're tasting California Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's get started. Now, if you watched last week's episode, the $6.99 comparison of cabs, that was the Bordeaux Superior Cab and the Bulgarian Rough Day Cab. Link here or here. I said in that episode that Cab is king, and I wasn't sure who was queen, maybe Pinot Noir or Merlot. And when Sarah saw that, she said, no, Pinot Noir is not queen. She's a princess. And I agree. Absolutely. So who's queen? Merlot. And why am I even making this little thing up? Because Cabernet Sauvignon always gets paired with somebody else, another grape variety, to smooth it out. Every king is backed by a good queen, and in Cab's instance, the queen here is Merlot. Sarah's right. Pinot Noir is a princess. She travels alone. She don't need nobody. Anyway, when you buy a cab, they are always blends, with, of course, the few exceptions where they aren't. But Cabernet Sauvignon is such a grippy and aggressive grape, they need somebody to smooth it out, to roll out the edges. And they do that with Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Petit Syrah, a bunch. So they're all little blends. Now, when you go to the store and look at the bottles, you're going to see lots of different bottle shapes. So if you see one like this is a princess. This is Pinot Noir from Burgundy. Has a sloped shoulder. If you see one like this is a queen. This is Merlot from Bordeaux, high shoulder. And Bordeaux wines are going to have high shoulders, and Burgundian wines are going to have sloped shoulders. So now you know, okay, it's red, it's from Burgundy, it's Pinot Noir, or it's imitating Pinot Noir from Burgundy. I'll talk more about Pinot Noir bottle shapes when we get to that episode. But okay, so here's the Bordeaux style. If you look over here at our Daou from California, you can see that these two bottles are really similar. The Bordeaux bottle and the Daou are almost the same size. The Daou is a little bit taller. So now we can infer that this is going to be made in a similar style to the French style. If we look at the Napa Cabernet, the signature series from Kirkland, you can see that this is also high-shouldered, but it's very tall and it's a little bit tapered. This is classic California stuff. They're always messing around with their bottle shapes. They want you to know that they are not going to imitate a French style here. They're going New World. They're going to do their own thing. It's going to be different and expressive, and it's not going to copy a classic style. A lot of times in California, Zinfandels will have this really tapered tuxedo look. I think it's a cool looking bottle, but with these bottle shapes, you'll be able to just immediately look at the shelves and know what the grape is and what the style is. And that'll help you, that gets you 50% on your way to buying the wine. Okay, let's talk about these two cabs and then let's taste them. Okay, it's important when you're shopping for wine, when you're going to pick your wine, you understand the concept of old world versus new world. New world is anything that isn't in Europe. So South America, South Africa, Australia, United States, New Zealand, Canada. Old world is Italy, France, Germany, Spain. You get it. Why does that matter? Because New World style wines are made in a different way. Old World wines, especially in France, follow an established recipe. They don't have to, but they do. They follow an established recipe that makes their wines more austere, a little more bitter, a little more acidic, and extremely food friendly, meaning you want these wines with food. It's their purpose. I often tell people that go to France for the first time, look, if you want a cocktail, order a cocktail. Wine goes with your meal. Wine is not a cocktail in France. So what is? New World wines are made in a cocktail type style. Now this gets confusing because you could have a wine like this one that could be made in a French Old World style. And then you've got a wine like this that clearly is not going to be made like a French Old World style. I mean, the bottle's telling you, hey man, I'm totally new, I'm totally different, I'm totally Californian. These Californian New World style wines, or New World style wines anywhere, are going to be good cocktail wines. They're going to be fruitier, jammier, smoother, and for the American palate, sweeter. In Europe, they do not eat as many sweet things as we do. So in Italy, they have an entire range of cocktails called bitters that are, well, bitter. And they're pretty good, but to an American and uninitiated palate, it tastes weird and yucky. Consequently, Italian wines are dry and a little bit bitter like that, but they go great with olive oil and cheese and fatty meats. That's their purpose. This wine may go okay with fatty meats. We don't really know, but it's going to be sweeter, softer, fruitier, and it's going to be a good cocktail wine. It'll be nice to sit around the fire and drink this all by itself. You don't need a meal. This one, maybe you do, maybe you don't. You don't really know. The bottle says maybe you do, but we'll have to taste it to figure out. Okay, that's the difference between old and new. Let's crack into the Kirkland one and give it a taste. All right, this is the Kirkland Signature Series Oakville Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley 2019. There you go. When you look at a wine and you are deciding to buy it, you always want to try to find a wine at the best price with the most specific geographic region. So this one has two. This says Napa, that's a part of Northern California. And then it says Oakville. So that means that the wine is from the Oakville area of the Napa American viticultural area. So Oakville is more specific, and it's generally accepted in wine circles that if you can get wine from all one area, meaning one field, that wine will be the most expressive and the best tasting. Lower quality wines like the Bordeaux Superior from last week, the Superior area, they source the wine, the grapes, from everywhere. Here, we know that by labeling laws in America, 75% has to come from Oakville. And since it says Napa on it, the state of California says 100% of it has to come from Napa Valley. So there we go. Okay, let's give this a taste. I'm thinking New World, big, bold, bright, expressive. This is a $20 wine. This is right at what I consider maybe the sweet spot. Cabernet Sauvignons go a lot higher in price, $120, $300. Those aren't my budget, you know. I mean, come on. I don't have that kind of money to throw around for wine, but 20 bucks, I could buy a $20 wine and I could share that with my friends when they come over. So, okay, I got my tasting card. I filled out the top. Link in the description for the tasting card if you need it. Let's look at the color. It's nice and dark. It is more red than purple. So it's a deep color, and I'm going to say the color is red. Swirl the wine. I don't know what the blend is here. It is really annoyingly difficult to find any kind of information on how they produced the Kirkland brand products. Costco, you could do a better job creating a little website that just gives us some information. about their wines, so I don't know what the blend is. Is it 100% Cabernet Sauvignon? No way. It can't be. Could be, but I don't really know. So anyhow, let's smell it. I can smell a little bit of oak. I can smell red fruit, blueberry, maybe a little bit of cranberry. It smells slightly sweet. That's the oak. Maybe a little bit of vanilla and cocoa. There's quite a lot of layers of aroma here. It smells nice. I'm going to give it a 7. And I'll write cocoa on here because that's a fun word. Now, let's taste it. This wine is 14.5% alcohol. That is big, and I don't want to have alcohol burn. Alcohol burn from a red wine is often because the wine is out of balance or because you're serving it too warm. This wine came out of my cellar basement at it's 59 degrees. So yummy. Okay. It's dry. There's a little bit of sweetness there. The body is medium full. The acidity is fresh. Now I got to score the acidity. It's dancing a little bit on my tongue. The finish is a little watery. I'm going to go 7. It's pleasant. It's integrated, but it's above nothing special. So it's better than that. Balance. It's a little hot, I have to admit. That burn is slowly growing. That's the alcohol. It's especially these California cabs have a little bit of a problem making themselves too big. They are just bombs. I mean, at 15%, the yeasts can't actually do any more. So 14.5 is pretty much this big sugar-loaded grape fermenting itself to almost complete death. So there's a lot of alcohol in here, and I can notice that. So I'm going to give it, I just said I can notice the alcohol. So that means it's obviously out of balance. I guess I have to give it a 4. My scoring chart is harsh. Okay, complexity. I'm going to taste it again. Smell, the aroma is great. Do I get any additional flavors? A little bit of sweet tart. Some flavors, I'll give it a 5. And the finish is a little watery. It's not as long and unctuous as I would hope. The acidity is good. This would probably go good with cheese. It's not what I would consider a huge, big, bold California jammy cab. Anyway, it's a good finish. I'll give it a 5. Okay, we're going to set this one aside, cue up the Daou. Why did I choose this wine? I chose it simply because it's Cabernet Sauvignon and it was 20 bucks. I just needed a comparison to the Kirkland Signature Series. This is it. It's Daou. It's from Paso Robles, which is south central California. Paso Robles is more known for Zinfandel than it is for Cabernet Sauvignon. In fact, I would say Paso Robles produces some of the nicest and best Zinfandel anywhere in California. Although I'll probably get a whole bunch of people who think, no way, dude, California Zinfandel is a Napa thing. And it might be, but the Napa Cabs, the Napa Zinfandels, anything with Napa, actually, it has a premium to the price point. It's not really a bargain area for California wines anymore. It has become well known, and so I think you kind of pay for the name Napa. All right. Paso Robles, still a little lesser known, and maybe this would be a good value wine. Let's see. The cork is nicer. It's a solid cork. the Kirkland cork was a composite. All right. Look at the color. Now, I had predicted that because of the bottle shape, this would be more Old World style and the Kirkland one would be more New World style. The Kirkland was, I would call it New World style, but it could have been more over the top. All right, let's smell this. Well, let's look at the color. Again, it's red and it's deep. Okay. It's less aromatic. I would expect that from an Old World style. Now I can start to get a little bit of vanilla, cedar. Honestly, it's not overly aromatic. I'll give it a 6 and I'll write cedar. Okay, let's taste it. Wow. That tastes really nice. It's got a hint of sweetness. It's 14.5% also. The body is medium full. The acidity is fresh. Actually, you could even almost tick smooth. It's coating on the mouth. So the acidity is good. I'm going to give it an 8. The balance is good. No burn. I can taste the sweetness that might be slightly more aggressive than I thought, but this is actually showing up to be more of a new style wine than the bottle shape indicates. So again, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but that's just 50% of how you're supposed to figure it out anyway. So balance is good. I'm going to give it 8. Complexity. Let's taste it again for complexity. The tannins are grippy, much more grippier in this wine than the first one. I don't really get a whole lot of extra complexity here. I'll give it a 6. The finish is where this wine really shows up. It's a long, nice, grippy finish. There's a sweetness. I bet if I paired this with a little bit of bitter chocolate, ooh, it would be like a candied chocolate. That would be really good. The finish is very nice. It's long. Heck, I'm going to give it a 9 for the finish. That's where this wine really shows up. Okay, I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my final scores for our 2 California Cabernet Sauvignons. The Kirkland Signature Series from Oakville in Napa scored 78 points, and the Daou from Paso Robles scored 87 points. Ooh, that's a big difference. Neither of these scored particularly well for $20. You'd kind of hope that $20 would get you more, but there really is a premium price on California Cabernet Sauvignon. It's quite popular, and well, Cab is king after all, so you got to pay your taxes to the king. The 78-point Kirkland is fine. It's aromatic, but it falls apart in the finish. The Daou at 87 points, it's probably more of a fair deal. It's not like it's cheaper or a good deal at 20 bucks. It's a fair deal, but it tastes great. It's got a wonderful, long-lasting finish, and it would pair well with barbecued things. Ooh, like ribs. This would be fantastic with ribs. The Kirkland wine is just okay, but it's really a little weak in its finish. It's not as big and bold, and so I probably wouldn't give a recommendation to buy this one. Honestly, it should taste better. It just didn't. Okay, that's it for this week. If you like this episode, give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Next week, we're going to talk Sauvignon Blanc. I'm going to go back up to Costco and we're going to shop for 2 different styles of Sauvignon Blanc because springtime is right around the corner. I can smell it, green grass and Sauvignon Blanc. Oh. All right, I'm going to go get Sarah. She's going to give you her review. And until next week, I say a tout à l'heure and cheers.
Hello. All right, so the not rough day. Daou and Kirkland in my left. Okay. Well, color-wise, I forget which one's which. Kirkland in my left. Okay, the Kirkland looks a little more bright and fresh, maybe less aged. Daou doesn't seem overly aromatic to me right at the moment. I smell a little bit more oak, I think, in the Kirkland. I'll try the Daou first. Oh, it tastes like tobacco. That's interesting. That went down easy. Really a lot of burst of flavors in the beginning. Okay, let me try the Kirkland. Tobacco in a good way, not like a nasty cigarette. A little bit harsher, or maybe a little bit more tannins, but a lot better than the $6.99 from last week. Goes good on a cold day like today. Cheers.